February 21st, 2023, at 6 o'clock, and it's being held at the Addison Township offices. If we could all stand for the pledge, please. Ed, you're our veteran. Could you start, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please keep standing, please.
Thank you for being with us tonight, dear Lord Jesus. First, let us pray for those families that lost family and friends during the shooting of Michigan State, and those that are still in the hospital. We pray for rapid recovery. Let us also pray for the families of East Palestine, Ohio, the victims of the train derailment. Pray that you help bring their well-being back to the citizens affected by the toxic chemicals. Please pray for this board to continue to be a service to our community. And all this we pray in the Lord's name. Amen.
Thank you. Now, we'll start the meeting. Can I have roll call, please?
Yes. Mary Frost.
Here.
Karen Geisel.
Here.
Linda Garrett. Here. Ed Wakefield.
Here.
Roy Fisher. Here. Bennett, President. Supervisor Pearson.
Present, everyone accounted for. Okay, any announcements?
No.
Department reports, as usual, are available in my office, or get a hold of Jamie, my deputy, and she'll make those available. Petitions, any petitions?
No.
Okay, order of business, approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll support.
Any questions, any conversation? Not hearing any, roll call that, please.
Yes. Linda Garrett.
Yes.
Ed Wakefield.
Yes.
Karen Geisel.
Yes.
Mary Frost.
Yes.
Roy Fisher.
Yes.
Bennett, yes. Supervisor Pearson.
Yes, we'll move on to consent agenda.
Yes. We have the approval of the January 17th, 2023 minutes, approval of the January bills, resolution authorizing the fire department's reinstatement and reclassification of the 10th full-time position, Kingsbury Country Day School Fair, June 4th, from noon to 5 p.m.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Okay,
I'll support.
and we have support. Does anybody on the board have any questions? Not hearing any, can we have roll call now, please?
Mary Frost.
Yes.
Ed Wakefield.
Yes.
Karen Geisel.
Yes.
Linda Garrett.
Yes.
Roy Fisher.
Yes.
Bennett, yes. Supervisor Pearson.
Yes, okay, and that is approved. We'll move on to item number 2, and this is, I think, where I have to do a lot of talking, so my voice is kind of getting raspy today, so you have to bear with me. These are all for the special assessment districts. We'll start out with the first one, which is the public hearing and resolution for the special assessment district for the private road in Addison Township. And the first one is Donna May and Marcy Lane. The Township Board received petitions signed by more than 50% of the record owners based on the tax rolls of Oakland County, constituting more than 50% of the total frontage of the proposed SAD, Special Assessment District, for $300 per parcel for each of the next 5 years to cover maintenance or improvements and 10% administration fee for the township. Proper notice of the hearing has been published in the Oxford Leader and mailed by first-class mail to each property owner within the proposed SAD. I verified and determined that petitions of Donna May and Marcy Lane SAD was properly signed by the requested record owners of 27 parcels based on the tax rolls, with 61.5% of the property owners signing the petition and attach the petitions for the board to determine the same. This is the first public hearing, and this is where we listen. And I'd like to open up the public hearing at, we'll say it's 6:03. If anyone would like to speak on the SAD on Donna May or Marcy Lane, please come forward and just speak. And I'll ask one more time if anybody would like to speak on the SAD for Donna May and Marcy Lane. Please come and speak. Not hearing anybody, I'd like to close the public hearing at 6:04. What I'm looking for is a motion to move the resolution authorizing the special assessment district for the private road of Donna May and Marcy Lane.
I'll move that resolution.
I'll support.
Okay, we have a motion and support. Any further discussion? Not hearing any, could we have roll call, please?
Yes. Linda Garrett.
Yes.
Mary Cross.
Yes.
Ed Brightfield.
Yes.
Karen Guyval.
Yes.
Lori Fisher.
Yes.
Bennett, yes. Supervisor Pearson.
Yes, the resolution so moved. The next one is the resolution for a special assessment district for Gravel Ridge Road and Deer Point. The Township Board received petitions signed by more than 50% of the record owners based on the tax rolls in Oakland County constituting more than 50% of the total frontage of the proposed SAD for $560 per parcel for each of the next 5 years to cover maintenance or improvements and a 5% collection fee for the township. Proper notice of the hearing has been published in the Oxford Leader and mailed by first-class mail to each property owner within the proposed SAD. I verified and determined the petitions for Gravel Ridge Road and Deer Point SAD were properly signed by the record owners of 21 parcels based on the tax rolls, which was 57.6% of the record owners, and those are the ones that signed the petition. Attached the petitions for the board. You can see for the board to look at. The first public hearing at this time, this is once again where we listen and listen only. I'd like to open up the public hearing. I think we'll call this one at 6:05. If anybody would like to speak on the special assessment district for Gravel Ridge and Deer Point, please come forward and speak. I'll ask one more time, anybody would like to speak on the SAD? Oh, you want to speak? You live in Deer Point?
No,
Okay,
but
you can speak.
Susan Weatherhead,
Oh, yeah.
she sent in a letter. She wants it as, for the public record, and she is in agreement with this assessment.
Okay. Anybody else? No one else? Okay, I'd like to close the meeting at 6:06. I'm looking for a motion to move the resolution authorizing SAD for the private roads of Gravel Ridge and Deer Point.
I'll make that motion.
I'll support.
I have a motion and we have support. Any further comments? Not hearing any, can we have a roll call, please?
Karen Guyval.
Yes.
Linda Garrett.
Yes.
Ed Brightfield.
Yes.
Mary Cross.
Yes.
Lori Fisher.
Yes.
Bennett, yes. Supervisor Pearson.
Yes, that resolution is so moved. Now we'll move on to the last one, which is the special assessment district for Lowwood Trail and Cherokee Ridge. Township Board received petitions signed by more than 50% of the record owners based on the tax rolls of Oakland County constituting more than 50% of the total frontage of the proposed SAD for $350 per parcel for each of the next 5 years to cover maintenance or improvements and a 5% collection fee for the township, and proper notice of the hearing has been published in the Oxford Leader and mailed by first-class mail to each property owner within the proposed SAD. I verified and determined that the petitions for the Lowwood Trail and Cherokee Ridge was properly signed by the record owners of 60 parcels, and based on the tax rolls, 83.3 of the record property owners signed the petition. I attached petition for the board to determine the same. This is the first public hearing. At this time, once again, this is where we listen, and I will open up the hearing and I'll call it at 6:07. If anybody would like to speak on any of those. Yes.
Oh, somebody, Lower, how you doing?
Hi, good.
What are we gonna do to increase it a little bit?
Had to be put on the petition.
So we gotta wait 5 years, is that what I'm told?
Well, you can ask for another petition, I believe.
How many did you get to sign that one?
This one was 83.3% of the people.
Oh, okay, I know Frank did a lot of running around trying to get it, so,
Oh, it was
Yeah, I
60
understand.
parcels.
you know, he told me it was hard to get it increased before, but we think if we could get it another 50 to 100 bucks, I think people on Lowood could probably afford it.
I believe next year you could ask for a new petition,
All right,
you know,
Yeah, we gotta
and
do.
increase it.
all right.
I'm not supposed to talk to you though, but this is a big deal. I won't tell you.
What's the
Okay.
last name?
Jim Todd, T-U-D-D. 1270
Thank you.
Okay,
Lowood. Yeah,
but duly noted. Thank
Okay.
you. Anyone else would like to speak on that? No? At this time, I'd like to close the hearing, after we'll call it 6:08. I'm looking for a motion to move the resolution authorizing the SAD for the private roads of Lowwood Trail and Cherokee Ridge.
Also move.
I'll support.
And we have support? Motion and support. Any further comments? No further comments? Do we have roll call, please?
Mary Cross,
Yes.
Linda Garrett,
Yes.
Karen Connell,
Yes.
Edward Hill,
Yes.
Lori Fisher,
Yes.
Bennett, yes, Supervisor Pearson.
Yes, that resolution is so moved. Okay, we'll move on to item number 3 now, is a public hearing for the truth in taxation and budget. A public hearing for truth in taxation and budget. This is a combined hearing for truth and taxation budget for the rates for the millages, which will not exceed the following rates. And once again, I will read these to you, okay? The general operating is 1.0011. The police is 3.4874. The fire capital is 0.7130. The fire operating is 2.1806. And another fire operating is 1.500. At this time, this is once again where we listen. I'd like to open up the hearing. And any comments on the proposed millage rates, I would let somebody come up and speak at the podium. I'd like to open up the hearing, and we'll call it at 6:10. If anybody would like to speak on the millage proposal rates, please come forward. I'll ask one more time, anyone on the millage proposal rates, please come forward. Not hearing any, I'd like to close the hearing at 6:11. Okay, next is the budget. I'll open the hearing at, call it 6:11. At this time, if anybody would like to speak on the budget for Addison Township, this is your time to come forward and speak on the budget. The board has gone over the budget for several months now, and we've made a proposal on the budget for the next year. But if somebody would like to speak about that, please come forward. Not hearing any comments on the budget, I'd like to close the hearing at 6:12. At this time, there's no further action needed, so we'll move on. Item number 4, resolution authorizing the interlocal agreement with Oakland County and NODA. Now I need some water.
That was a lot.
We've had many, many meetings with Oakland County and NODA, and we have Lynn, who is our manager here, and we also have representatives from the county. I believe that I haven't met you, sir, but you are the attorney for the county?
Yeah, Bill.
Yes, yes. And we've had many, many meetings, and I would defer this to our attorney, Bob Davis. He's been involved in this. And Mr. Davis was there to protect the interests of the township. And were we happy with everything? Of course not. But are we happy with some of it? Yes. And what I'm looking for is a motion to move the resolution authorizing the interlocal agreement with Oakland County and NODA. And Mr. Davis, our attorney, would like to put in the record that it's a long version of the resolution, which has a lot of information in it versus we did have a shorter version of it. And I'll open this up to the board members. If anybody would like to add anything on this. I think you all have it in your board packets. And yes.
I just want to thank everybody in that first row, even though I told you guys to separate. You all worked well with us at Addison Township and with Bob Davis. I know you guys got many calls from Bob, and we made changes or request changes, and you accepted them.
Yes.
And that was very much appreciated, which helped us make a decision tonight.
Anybody else like to comment? Well, I'd like to comment. Lynn is the manager of NODA. She's probably the finest manager of any of the transportation systems in Oakland County. And I think Oakland County is using all of her knowledge on how to put together an awful lot of this. I I can't remember Lynn's last name because she just got married, and if you look on her finger, that was one big rock. I mean, so apparently, somebody has a big house somewhere in Florida, I'm sure. But anyways, what is the,
Gromaski. Gromaski.
yeah, common spelling?
Yes.
Okay, so, okay, but anyways, I would like to compliment, at this time, we don't see Lynn that often here, but as you know, NODA meets all of our needs for our seniors and our people with disabilities, and she's done a terrific job. And you can tell because everyone else is following our lead, and you have NODA and WODA, and someday if they had one up in Brandon, they could have BODA. But I looked at, I would have to say that we were well represented, and I hope this works out with the county. I truly do. I just hope that our system doesn't get shortchanged, and I'm sure Lynn will look out for our interest in that. But other than that, I would have to say, after talking with Bob Davis, that I would recommend a vote on this. So,
I've read the contract, obviously, we both have many times made many changes. I'd like to make the resolution that authorizing interlocal agreement with Oakland County and NODA, the long form at Bob Davis's request. I'm not gonna read it because it is a long form. Did you guys get the copy of the long form? I think you did.
The resolution?
Yes.
Yeah, and in fact, if it helps at all, the resolution, the long form resolution was adopted by the Board of Commissioners last Thursday, so that's set in stone, so you got that.
So that's my motion to adopt the resolution.
I wondered if any other of the communities have adopted a resolution like this.
I believe that the village already adopted, NODA, that Orion, they have it
Orange.
tonight is Orion, and then is Oxford's
March.
next week.
Is in March.
Oxford Village already adopted it.
The village, the Oxford Township, did they,
They're March 8th,
March 8th, okay.
and then OPC's adopted it, voters adopted it, Oakland County's adopted it.
And SMART will adopt it on Thursday, I'm sure.
Okay, did that answer your question there?
Yes, thank you.
If there's no more questions, can we have a roll call?
No, you gotta get a second.
Support.
Oh, yeah, I thought we had support. Anybody want to support it?
I can support that.
Okay, we do have a motion, we do have support. Roll call.
Karen Gabo,
Yes.
Mary Frost,
Yes.
Ed Brakefield,
Yes?
Linda Garrett,
Yes.
Lori Fisher,
Yes.
Bennett, yes, Supervisor Pearson.
Yes. Resolution is so moved. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You forgot to mention our celebrity, Kirsten Wilpane.
Yes, I knows her, but she usually has work clothes on, you know, because she's tearing down a mill or putting a mill back together or something, or a trail or something or
Trails
other,
in.
you know, but, yes. And I'm sorry that you got stuck with the job of doing all this,
It's
okay?
been a pleasure to work with NODA and Lynn.
Well,
Excuse me.
It has.
Oh,
It
okay.
has, but, yeah.
yeah, okay. I always tell everybody, you know, everyone knows I was a deputy sheriff out here and I had to wear a bulletproof vest. And I still wear a bulletproof vest, okay, at this job. So, you know, I know exactly how it is when somebody puts you in a position, okay? So, thank you guys very
I do
much.
have one more
Thanks.
comment.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If the people don't know, there's been a lot of rolled up sleeves, a lot of banging on tables, a lot of pointing fingers to get to where we are now. And this is both ways, we did it. People finally came together, Oakland County and all of us, and it worked out well. But there was a lot of negotiation during this one to get it right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
We're gonna run to order now.
Yeah,
I
thanks.
wanted to thank you and Ed because I really looked at your input on this, because in reading it, I was like, whoa. But thank you for all your hard work and your
Sure.
time.
Okay, I'll see you next Thursday. No. What day? Thursday, yes. Okay, we'll move on to item number 7, park project No, we're on IT right. Item number 6.
Number 5.
Number 5.
Oh,
Fine.
we're on 5.
Yeah.
Okay. See how I get all confused? Columbarium engraving, okay? The township authorizes the RFP with no response. The township solicited engravers with 2 responses. Since the board pack was issued, we contacted engraver number 2 Lincoln Granite Company, as we need to get going with somebody who can do the engraving. The columbariums, in case everybody knows, that's in the cemetery, those nice big fancy things like you see out the National Cemetery. We have 5 of them now in the cemetery that you can buy niches, and now we need the engraving on the front is what we're referring to now. And this firm is where we drop off and pick up and install, and they have signed an agreement. I asked the board to approve Lincoln Granite as the engraver for the columbarium and I'd like to authorize the supervisor to sign the agreement and keep the term of the agreement. And then, of course, next is the policy, if it was to reflect the fees of the additional township fees for the time travel mounting. So I'm looking for a motion to approve, of course, a resolution also for item number 2, which is the cemetery fee schedule. Anybody have any questions? Pauline can probably add to this.
Is this a 2-part motion or 2 motions?
That was my question. Can we do it in one motion? You got 2.
I'd like to do it in one motion if we possibly could.
I just have one question before, whenever we have discussion, but do we need to do anything with the prior discussion? And did we have a vote before on Inch Memorial? Are
We did have a vote, and I wasn't even gonna bring up, but I did contact and say I needed something by a certain date and time, or it was gonna be on the board agenda, and I didn't hear
I
back.
just wanna make sure if we're changing, we're not changing a prior vote, we're changing,
The action.
right, so do we need to do anything with the prior vote, or we just start moving forward on a new?
I'm comfortable going forward with the new one. He was contacted. If you feel better by saying that we're no longer going to, how would you say the word?
Or rescinding our
Or
vote to
rescinding.
approve
I mean,
Inch
we can do
Memorial?
that too, but
And go
he's
forward
been-
with Lincoln, just so that it's clear on the record.
Do we rescind the vote or we just,
we,
is that the right word?
I don't think
Modify.
it's the right word to rescind because you can't make that motion go away.
I don't think you can rescind the vote, but you can, make a motion to not go with the previous resolution, however it was stated.
Previous
and-
company, yes.
Right, and then to go with the resolution, the term of the, is it NESA, N-E-S-A? NESA agreement?
It's Lincoln, with
It's-
Lincoln
yeah,
Memorial.
What is NESA then?
It's a niche.
Niche engraving services, niche
Oh,
engraving
yeah.
services agreement?
Is that the name of the company?
No.
I knew it was Lincoln, but then, yeah.
It's okay, I did that earlier this afternoon when I was looking through all of this, I did the same thing.
I'll support that motion.
Okay.
Or were you
Well,
done?
no, the second part of it was, the, changes to the engraving fees as stated in the resolution. Policy of the township cemetery fee schedule.
Okay, so we have a motion and we do have support. Anybody have any comments on this? Not hearing any. I think that we've tried, we've sent out all kinds of stuff. It's very hard to get anybody to respond on this. And now we have finally someone who's responded and said that they'll do it. And so I would like to take a roll call vote on this first.
Linda, was that moving resolution number 2?
Yes, she has that in there.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Edward Hill.
Yes?
Mary Frost.
Yes.
Karen Barnes.
Yes.
Linda Garrett.
Yes.
Lori Fisher.
Yes.
Bennett, yes. Supervisor Pearson.
Yes, resolution is so moved, or the agreement. Now we're on to the IT right agreement, which is, our agreement is coming up, and after tonight, do we want to seek a new RFP or stay with the firm we have, is what the question is here. They have shown us other community bids as well. And as you can see, in 2007, we only received 2 responses for the RFP, okay? Which is a response for proposal. I think we should renew, I'm happy with the company here unless someone tells me something different. But I'd like a motion to renew with, what is it, VC3, is that their company now?
Yeah, it's now BC3. I'll make that motion.
Upon legal approving the agreement, first of all, yeah.
I'll make that motion, we stay with them. They're doing a great job.
Support.
And we have support. Does anybody have any comments on them?
It's a 3-year agreement, just so everybody's aware.
Yeah, I don't know, seems like there should be more IT opportunities out there with more and more people getting involved in it. You guys are happy with them?
Well, let me explain why I was so quick. I had some questions about our computers. We know we've all got computers. I had questions. When I called, they answered immediately. I mean, I'm not talking about, they just picked up the phone. Hi, Ed, let's help you out. And they walked me through fixing I needed password corrections and things like that, and they walked right through it. I had another issue that I wanted to get another computer that matched what we've got. And I think it's Monique over there, took my hand and made a computer similar to what we've got, and I put it on order. If it wasn't for them, I would have a clue how to build that computer the way we have ours. So very few IT companies will spend the time for one person that's not a money maker for them, that's not making the decision to spend money, and they just spent time with me, and I appreciate that. That means something to me. That's why I wanted to stay with them.
Any other comments?
We went out for RFPs in 2017, only received 2, and when you compare the price for the next 3 years compared with the one other person that gave us a price in 2017, they're still going to be slightly lower, and they respond. I mean, are they how would you say, the highest techy people? That I don't know, but they respond and they keep our server safe.
And I've been at the supervisors meeting with all the other township supervisors in Oakland County, and a majority of them use IT right, so. Okay, did we have a
You wanna
motion,
make that motion?
and did we have a support?
Not
I
yet.
supported.
And we have support. Any further comments? All right, hearing any, could we have roll call, please?
Linda Garrick,
Yes.
Mary Frost,
Yes.
Ed Brightfield,
Yes?
Karen Geiger,
Yes.
Lori Fisher,
Yes.
Bennett, yes, Supervisor Pearson.
Yes. Okay, and that passes. Now we're on to item number 7, park project and grants. Well, round 1 of the Spark grant was awarded, and nobody, I guess, in Oakland County or Macomb County received a grant, okay? We do have the county grant, which was approved for $199,295.25. I guess with the contribution of a match of $99,347.63. The county grant will cover the pickleball courts that we want to put out front here, and a walking path that goes around the little park here, so the seniors can go out and walk, and anybody else in the community. Our engineer indicated that we're going to need plans and a possible RFP, or request for proposal, and somebody's going to have to coordinate this. And I'd like to use our engineers. They've done an excellent job for us, especially out in the columbariums and the cemetery. So that's the bottom line. On the Spark grant, I'd like to know if the board would authorize us to fill out of a Spark grant for round 2, and phase 2 of the park build out that we could add to it. And but what we need to decide tonight is that how do we want to proceed, and do we want any changes on the plans? We came in at 960, and if we lose, if we take away 200,000 for phase 1, we're at 760. We could lower this by taking out the splash pad, which would bring it down to 660,000. So I guess the discussion we have is authorize PEA to submit round 2 at $1,000 for the ARPA fund changes. Or do we want to authorize PEA to change the park plan for round 2? We want to bring this back to the board with revised plans, estimates, and new resolutions. Besides document approval, we're going to need approval up to about probably $50,000 from the ARPA funds for additional expenditures and agreements. So, what's the board's pleasure on this? And I know Pauline's been working on the grants. We're making progress.
We are, but there's a lot of moving pieces to this one. So as far as the splash pad, everybody knows that I really wanted something, a splash pad for the kids, especially the younger kids, but that ticket item is $100,000. We came in pretty high. The state did give some high grants, but I'm thinking let's knock it down for round 2 and round 3, and let's go for the 660. By the time Mike was done with the grant, we were really high because he had to throw in a lot of different visual items, so we were pretty high. So I'm kind of liking that thought process. As far as engineered plans, he's going to have to make them if we're going to go through with the first phase. So I'm thinking we should go ahead and authorize him. He gave us a quick estimate of $45,000 to do the plans, to oversee the phase 1 project, and also to do the RFPs if Oakland County requires it. So we don't know all the steps of Oakland County yet because that grant was just formed at the last minute and Jamie just responded to it really quick. So she's gonna have to do a little bit of research on that. I broke this out in 4 things. You want me to say those 4?
Go ahead.
Okay. So I think what we need to do is authorize PEA to create the engineered plans for phase 1 and phase 2 with the funds coming from the park funds, as Bruce said. Authorize them to go ahead for the Spark grant, and that's already in a contract. They'll only charge $1,000 to do it one more time. We also need them to submit an agreement, and then I think the agreement should come back next month. And the agreement would be for the engineering of phase 1 and phase 2, the RFP for phase 1 project and inspect it. And then we're gonna have to have a new conceptual plan. So the conceptual plan is gonna have to break it out as phase 1 and phase 2. And then if we're all in agreement to remove the splash pad, then I'll just tell them take that out and then label phase 1 and phase 2.
Without the splash pad, how much engineering plans is gonna be involved in that? 'Cause that's really the only underground.
They're gonna do plans, just like when you put anything in, the grades, the level, I don't know.
I would think that engineering plans that included the splash pad would be more, but I wonder if they would be less.
That's true, they might be less because he doesn't know that we're thinking about taking it out. So I think his price was with everything, so it might be less.
So we could say up to, it may be less without, I would think, because that's the only thing that's underground. Other than that, there's footings on a few things, but there's not much underground.
If we went up to 45, that would cover everything.
Mhm.
He didn't have the opportunity to come up with the agreement yet, so the agreement would come back. But at the same time, do we want him to start the engineered plans before next month?
My thing is, if you're gonna get anybody to do any of this stuff, you better start moving because everybody's gonna be filled up, okay? The pickleball courts, are asphalt. You're gonna have a lot of contractors in here that are filling up for next year already. If you want this done, then you better have it ready to go, so what's everybody's pleasure?
I'll make a motion to approve PEA to start with the engineered plans and to bring back to the board the agreement, not to exceed $45,000 for the full agreement. To also authorize PEA when round 2 opens, to reapply for the Spark grant at $1,000. This one we didn't discuss. I also asked PEA to amend the conceptual design and remove the splash pad.
So that's the motion.
Yes.
Anybody have a support on that?
I'll support.
We have a motion and we have support. Do we have any other conversation on this?
Is there anything else that we could take out of this to lessen the cost, so we get a better chance of
The
getting
only
a grant?
thing they gave a few grants, cause I gave everybody the list. Some of these grants were over 900,000. So I don't really know if that's what threw us out, but nobody from Oakland and McCormick got anything. The only other thing that we were talking about was the volleyball court, because that's quite large. But then Bruce brought up the point that it's relatively cheap and people will probably use it.
And at the pickleball court, we already had donations from several people in the community who had already written checks to the township to support that. And,
So the big ticket item is the playground equipment, which you can't, and that's the part where Mike really had to add a lot to our grant request, because there's a lot of specialty items that he's gonna have to put into it. So that's really gonna be the big ticket item.
Yeah, I don't see any reason like the volleyball court would be something using, it's only 10,000.
Right, so it's like just
sand.
keep it in. I need to amend my motion though, the 45,000 coming from the park ARPA funds.
okay, and who supported you?
I did.
Will you support
Support
that?
Damon.
Okay. Any other questions?
I've got a comment.
Yes.
Maybe it's not at the right time. I see there's benches involved. Okay, we've got 5 of them. At Polly Ann Trail, what we did, we had a design, at Polly Ann Trail, we could use their design. What we did was we asked if anybody wanted to volunteer a bench, we would put your name on it and saying this bench was a gift from certain family or in memory of. It was very well received by the people. We did get all of the benches we needed. They weren't that expensive, but if anybody out there, and I'm running it for the camera as well, would like to call the township and volunteer to help purchase a bench, they do all have to be the same style and the same bench, so we would let them know which style of bench that they would be volunteering to purchase for the park. So that would be nice to have volunteers for 5 benches is what we need.
I think that's a great idea. All 5 benches should be in memory of Ed Brakefield.
Yeah, before I die, that's good.
Anybody else? Anybody else?
Sounds like an expensive bench.
Yeah.
$5,500 is a lot of money for a bench.
Is that what they're saying?
Well, that's not necessarily, that's what we asked for. I went to Home Depot to get the most fanciest bench that they could give us, and it turned out to be $230. Okay, that's the fanciest bench, and I know Polly Ann Trail people didn't charge that much. So, and what they did is they put in wood instead of wrought iron, and wrought iron legs, but with wood on it, and on the back that had the engraving in, on the wooden back as well. So the pricing would not be that much. We could design it a little less expensive when people are volunteering to buy them.
You do that with brick pavers too,
Yeah,
any kind of those programs.
yeah.
Having multiple plaques on the benches instead of somebody, just one, whoever, you know, you'd have them all over, it could be a mosaic of people.
There you go.
So we have the motions, we have the support. And we need a vote then.
Ready?
Roll call, please.
Ed Brakefield.
Yes?
Whitney Garrett.
Yes.
Karen Darrell.
Yes.
Mary Cross.
Yes.
Lori Fisher.
Yes.
Bennett, yes. Supervisor Pearson.
Yes. Okay, get to work on that. Okay, now we're on to the appointment of the alternate to OCTV. We have Karen on there right now that pretty much is at every meeting and you handle everything, but you do need an alternate right in case you want to
That's
go
what they
before.
told me.
No.
Okay.
There's a blank name under Addison Township alternate, so, I mean, I've been at every meeting, so, but.
Now, we did get with Terry, the manager, and it says that we should appoint an alternate in case Karen can't be there, and she wins a trip to Hawaii or something. And so, I would like to appoint Mary Frost on there because she's, is that okay with Mary?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. And I just like,
Just an
because
alternate.
Mary likes to go to all these meetings, you know, gets her out of the house. So.
I mean, Mary wouldn't have to attend unless I wasn't, right?
Correct.
Okay,
Well,
yeah, there really is no reason.
So you
to.
just have to let Mary know that you won that trip. Okay. Okay, so where are we on? We need, I guess, everyone in favor of appointing Mary to the
Let's
OCTV?
hear and say no.
Yeah, but say, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? You can't say anything, Mary.
I didn't, so
Okay,
you
I know, I just
pointed.
wanna make sure you said aye. Okay, number 9 here, this is, oh, I gotta go back now and find my budget. This is our budget here, which is the 2023-24 budget review. And it's the general, the fire, the police, the park, and the improvement revolving fund, okay? We've gone through page by page for several months now. I think we've tweaked this an awful lot, so I'm just gonna go through each general heading and ask if there's anything that anybody would like to add to or delete. On the general fund.
Yes.
Oh, okay. then.
Since we received word from the county that they did approve the grant, we should put 100,000 into account number 101. Okay, I gotta put my glasses on. 528, other federal grants for 100,000, and then at the very bottom, transfer in from general fund, 699101. That's gonna be 135, so that's another 100,000. And then the expenditure, I'm thinking we should do it out of community projects, which is on page 2. Very last line, item 261884, community projects would now be 270,000.
Okay,
And that only is applicable for the Oakland County grant.
okay, that just means we don't have to spend it, it's just there. And if we do get it, then we have the money for it. Okay, anything else in the general? Okay, let's move on then to the fire. Anything, I have the fire chief here. I think we're good on the.
Questions?
No, we're just.
Prepared this time, I have it.
I just wanted to make sure that your budget is good, right?
Yes.
And anybody on the board have any questions on the fire budget? Everyone knows that Jerry can make a penny last for a long time, so I don't think.
Well, I
we
pay
have
taxes
any-
here.
Yeah.
It hurts.
And
Amen.
he has done awfully well for us for all these years now, so I have full confidence in him. Okay, then we'll move on to the, let's see what we got here. We'll move on to the police. And we have the commander here of the station. Do we have anything that you need from the budget?
No, I think it's.
We're good?
Yeah, we've been pretty good.
Okay, anybody have any questions on the police budget? Not hearing any. I guess you're all set then. Okay, then we'll go to the parks. Anybody have any questions on the parks? We have a few things to finish up at the park. But I think we can handle that. We just want to get the ADA accessible trail at the Lake George Park down to the new dock. And then we want to put an ADA launch site for kayaks. Those are things I think we can accomplish this year. I've already got that in the budget. Anything else in parks? Okay, then we'll move on to the improvement revolving fund. This is where the township has been allowing people to pave their roads, and then we pay the paving, and we'll do a special assessment district on roads. They can be public or private, and then we add that to the taxes over 7 years. And the government says we no longer can give 0% interest. We have to charge at least 1%. So we have to charge 1% if somebody wants their roads paved, and we put a few $100,000 And as an example, if you look behind Louis' Restaurant, now it's the Lakeville Station. If you look behind there, they paved that whole road, did the underground, the storm came out beautiful. And that'll be paid over the next 7 years, and made a huge difference for their road because it was always mud, so. But, anybody have any questions on that? Nothing? Then I think we are done with that. Okay, that's review of the budget. So we don't have to do anything at this time. Next month, I think we'll tackle that. Okay, now we're on the public forum. Anybody in the public that would like to speak to the board, please come forward.
Go ahead.
Yes, go right ahead, just state your name and well, this is where we listen again. We don't really, we're not supposed to talk back to you, so. And,
My name is Dan Mayer. I am Karen's, one of her neighbors.
My neighbor?
Yeah, I do. And first off, just want to say thank you so much for your guys' service, your time. I know it's not just in this room. Obviously, it was referenced earlier, some things outside of here that you have had to research and work on. And so I appreciate that. I've lived in the community now. My wife and I and our 4 kids, which you see all the time running down the road, for probably about, well, it was before COVID, so I guess maybe 4 years now, 5 years or so. But anyway, just want to say thank you first off. Secondly, thank you to the police. We have had our alarm go off a couple times, and you guys have responded like that. And on top of just, there was one other thing I think I needed to call in about, and you and your officers were really, really helpful. So thank you. Haven't had fire over yet, so that's good.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
thank them in advance.
Well, yeah, with four kids, and who knows what goes on, you never know. But secondly, just wanted to offer up my services as a volunteer and part of this community if it's needed. I owned an IT company like IT Right or VC3 for years. I started it about 8 years ago and sold it and started a coffee business. So crazy leap of faith there. But anyway, I've helped other companies and organizations, municipalities choose IT vendors. So even if it's just keeping them honest, or you just want to know if they're doing everything they could or should be doing for you, I'm happy to help.
Well, thank you.
And then lastly, I just want to say, again, going back to the 4 children, splash pad, I did not know that was going to come up tonight, but it may be a ill-fated issue at this point, but definitely couldn't put stronger support behind that. I would strongly ask that if there's any alternative funding sources, or we can do a couple hundred more benches or whatever, to help fund it, or bricks or whatever, that would be huge. I know for myself and some of the other young families that moved into the area that we've met, that would be very, very well received. So just for what it's worth, that's all I have.
Thank you very much.
No.
Anybody else would like to speak?
Go ahead.
Thank you, Jerry. Ricky Klein, 266 Don May. I'd like to know where the township is with the common trash collection. Possibly one vendor for everyone. It was going full speed and then it kind of died out, or we haven't heard anything in our area.
Just speak on what you would like, and then I'll answer things in the supervisor's report.
Okay.
Okay. So your question is, where are we?
Where are we?
With this?
Yes.
And anything else?
No, that's good right now.
Okay, I will answer you, not now, but anybody else? This is where we listen.
Yep, okay.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I have something, due to the ice storm maybe coming this weekend, I wanted people to realize that if you have to run your generator, make sure it's outside, any open flames, anything like that, because once we're out of power for a while, we start doing alternative heating methods in our house, and usually that turns into a problem for the fire department and having to help the residents. So just be safe and be mindful of what's happening if we do get the ice storm coming up. And a lot of times they are devastating. If anybody remembers 2003, we had a really bad ice storm, out of power for 5-6 days, 2 house fires, lots of injuries, issues, wires down, stuff like that. So it could be pretty devastating. So I just wanted the township and the residents to know we're here for you, but also be smart and think through things and don't do anything that would make an issue in your house or somebody get hurt. So, all right, heads up.
Thank you, Chief. Okay, anybody else would like to speak in public forum?
I think it's unfair that Donna May already complimented the chief in advance of this weekend. That's unfair.
And the
Special
chief's
perks.
coming to our house to start our generators and fuel.
I will help you. If you need
Thanks,
that,
Jared.
we'll be there.
I'll have it out in the
Okay,
driveway.
Addison Township Board reports. Anybody on any boards? Anything from cable? We're going good there? Anything
I guess
from?
there's been some glitches, I guess. They said some people, viewers are having glitches, and the board is telling the viewers to check with their service provider, but it's not necessarily the OCTV. So I don't know, that's all I know.
Yeah, they broadcast that on YouTube.
Somebody out here had a problem, and, well, somebody had a problem, and there was a squirrel that was like ate through something, so that was their problem. But somebody had a problem with AT&T service, and it wasn't anything to do with OCTV, so I suppose people figure that out, they call their service provider and figure it out, but that's it.
Okay, anything else on SISMA? Anything on there?
It's been pretty quiet. You want me to go over the DTE notes?
You mean for the lighting? Yeah, let's go over.
We did submit for a grant for the DTE streetlights. If you remember last meeting, supervisor suggested that we look at the cost to convert to LED. Unfortunately, there was a very quick time frame to submit for the grant because it was closing, so that did get done last week.
Yeah, and there's about a 4-year payback if we switch the lights that are, I didn't know there were 23 or
No,
whatever,
37.
37 lights at all the intersections, and they're the old gas-filled light bulbs that DTE says if we pay, what was the figure it came out to?
It was just under $9,000 to do the conversion, and that's for all the lights. We might not actually do the lighting district, but that was included in the quote, so I just.
But then there's a grant that they would pay back 5,000 of that?
It was 80%.
80%. The payback would be 4 years. So I think it's a win-win because in 4 years, at least, you know, the price of running LED is a third of what it is to run the old other ones. So anybody else on the board? Yes.
We just signed a new contract, updated contract with Linda Moran from Pollyann Trail. She's got it for another year or so, and I think she's doing a great job. We are doing a new website. I don't know if you do anything to do with websites, but we're doing a new website from Pollyann Trail. We've issued the contract already, so don't get too excited. We did do the contract already for the new website. NODA, we don't have to tell you about NODA. You probably felt it already, that NODA has been a fun 2 months. And if you're not sure what we're talking about is when Oakland County sent the millage out to go transportation millage, they won the vote. They're taking over WODA, NODA, I think it's the senior citizens, so they're taking a bunch of them. They're going Oakland County, Wayne County, some of Wayne, and Macomb County. NODA then has been asked to start sending buses up to Brandon, which is really gonna stretch us thin in NODA. But Oakland County stepped up and said, we will give you 3 buses to do this trip. Buses do not drive themselves. That's gonna be up to NODA to come up with drivers for it. So you can probably see there's a lot of negotiation going on. But NODA has been a lot of fun. Bruce and I have had a blast challenging Oakland County to meet our contract, to meet the way we want it. And after a lot of negotiation, they finally said okay. And with Bob Davis's help. We're not legal beagles. Bob Davis, an outstanding attorney, and by the way, if you didn't know, Bob Davis is Addison Township's attorney and is very, very knowledgeable about law. So that's where we are with Pollyann and NODA.
Okay.
Planning Commission held a meeting last week, and we are recommending an ordinance amendment language, just adding libraries into the Suburban Farms District. And we also held a training session, which was fun.
Thank you. Okay, now, the last thing we have is any communications? No communication. Now we have the 3-hour speech of the supervisor's report. Well, first of all, if you saw in the Oxford Leader, Mike McDonald, the village president, and myself had a meeting with DTE. We were up at the village of Leonard and the outskirts of the township up in that area, and that electrical system was not acceptable. We do have some guarantees now with DTE that they're gonna put a lot of money into that system, and they're gonna separate it into 3 zones. But anyways, as you know, I had the meeting with our senators several years ago, and we got a big upgrade in this area for the electricity, and it started to falter again, so we put them to the task of getting this fixed, and I'll stay on their case. And so far, they've been responsive, and they have a new supervisor up in the Lapeer station, and he's the one that handles Addison Township, and he said that he will make this right, and if you saw in the paper, he says there won't be another problem. He'll have this one fixed, so we'll see what happens. The roads so far, I've been on with the road commission. They have done a pretty darn good job this year with the roads. We'll see what happens when the spring thaw comes up, but really we don't have much in the way of frost, so our roads hopefully won't disappear like they have in the past. So, but they've done a lot of ditching at my request, and so they have started to divert the water off of the roads, which helps the roads stay good. So I'll keep on them with that, and they've been very helpful. We have a new superintendent and a new foreman, so I've met with both of them, and we're making some real progress. Like the chief said, we do have an ice storm coming tomorrow, so everybody be careful. Christmas in Action, as you know, Christmas in Action is a Christian organization that I've been a part of here in Addison Township, and we take care of our seniors and people with disabilities. And so far, we have done somewhere around, I think, 28 homes where we put new kitchens, new bathrooms, and roofs, everything free of charge. We had an awful lot of benevolent people that donated a lot of money to us, and we would have 150, 200 volunteers come out, and we would fix our seniors' housing. Unfortunately, most of our members are getting too old now to do this, so we disbanded. We did have some money left in our accounts, and so we voted to give each one of our senior centers in Oxford, Orion, and Addison Township. We donated $1,650, and the checks have already been sent out in cash to our senior center to provide something of entertainment or something for our seniors. So I wanted to thank all the members. I've been in it for many, many years, and we can't do it anymore because, as every other organization, some of our members just get too old, and we don't have the young people coming in anymore. So, trash collection. Yes. At first, we got a lot of opposition to trash collection. And we even had people come in here and, don't you dare take my trash man away. I give him a 12-pack of beer every year, and he takes everything I got. And our issue with the trash collection is, number one, we have to put in an ordinance that allows only one trash collection. And that's what Waterford and Orion Township, they've all proceeded with that. We're at this point now where I think it's time, because I am getting phone calls every day that the trash bills have just skyrocketed. I believe that we can cut from the proposals that I've gotten from different carriers, that if we did it as a township as a whole, that we could probably cut our cost by probably 40% for everybody. And then our issue is, we wanna save the roads, because then you'd only have one truck coming down, not six. You'd only have one day of garbage pickup instead of, you know, every day having, 6 garbage trucks come through. And so we've looked at all that, it's a saving of fuel, you know, we only have that. And there is a safety in numbers, when the whole township is one contract, then we can negotiate, and we think that it would be a positive. Our issue is that, you know, we have to answer some of the people who don't want it. And there are some people that go on vacation during the summer, and there are some people who go on vacation in the winter. But I think those things can be worked out, where we can probably, with a provider, we can maybe set aside a 3-month period where they don't have to pay if they go on vacation or whatever. But those are things that have to be done. I think it's a great, great thing. As you know, a couple of years ago, we happened to find out that one provider was dumping garbage next to the Watershed Preserve Park. And it was huge mounds of garbage just dumped out in the woods, truckloads upon truckloads, because they had come on financial hard times. That's not acceptable. I had to get the EPA out there, I had to get the health department out there, I had to get Eagle out there, and I had to get that cleaned up. That should not be my job, or the township's job, or the police department's job, to go and find out where they're dumping stuff. So I think in the future, I think it should be done, that we have a one garbage pickup to protect all the citizens. So that, and the other thing is that we pick up everything on the side of the road. I go around with my pickup truck and pick up couches, okay? Because if you leave one couch, 3 more couches show up the next day. So you gotta pick them up every day. And so in this township, as you know, we have a spring cleanup, everything's picked up. I don't think you'll see any garbage in Addison Township, and if you do, let us know, we'll pick it up, because we don't wanna see more of it accumulate. So your answer is, I would like letters of support, that people do want this garbage pickup, because when we have these hearings, there's gonna be a lot of people show up. And we need positive people, you know, and because what generally happens is that you'll get a handful of people that are dissatisfied, and they make the decision for the whole township. And we really, I think this is an issue that all the other townships are also tackling. So I think it's time for us too. So I hope that answers your question. And Pauline's done a lot of work on this, you know, but I think it's at time, and our attorney will direct us on how to proceed. I think this year is the year. So thank you. Other than that, I don't have anything else, so I ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion, we adjourn.
Nobody wants to support?
I'll
Second
second.
forever, is that it? Okay. We have a motion, sir. All those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We are adjourned, thank you. Next month is gonna be